I really don't have much sympathy for illegal immigrants. I think that if you're going to sneak into someone else's country and take advantage of the state of their country for your own benefit, and you're not paying taxes, you're not following the laws by definition, then when you're caught and you have to go back, then you knew that was coming and you have to go back, which is what we're going to explain to AJ Plus.
California became the first sanctuary state in the country this year when it enacted new legislation to prevent law enforcement from carrying out President Trump's crackdown on the undocumented.
Okay, that's a major issue, isn't it? I mean, that's something that really should be dealt with. I don't see how a state can prevent the president from allowing, like, encouraging or requiring law enforcement to do their job. I mean, if I was a citizen of the, like, if this was in Britain and Cornwall enacted their own legislation to prevent the police from deporting illegal immigrants, I would have a serious problem with that.
But now fears here are growing amid reports that ICE is planning to launch a massive sweep targeting Northern California. There are almost...
It's probably because we know there are going to be millions of undocumented immigrants in there who need to go back, who shouldn't be in the country, who shouldn't be taking advantage of your social services, who shouldn't be adding wear and tear to the infrastructure of your country, who shouldn't be taking up valuable jobs that actual citizens can have. I mean, it's not like there are no good reasons not to have illegal immigrants.
Almost 400,000 undocumented immigrants in the San Francisco Bay Area alone.
That's a great point. There are hundreds of thousands of them just in San Francisco's Bay Area. So they need to go back. Every single last one of them. And if they want to come to your country, why don't they just do it legally? And if they can't do it legally, maybe there's a fucking reason for that. I mean, you don't know whether these people have terrible histories or not. Is it any wonder that you have a real problem with, like, Mexican gang crime in the southern states of the US?
And we're about to visit the Oakland home of an undocumented woman who is preparing her family for the worst.
The worst is being sent back to Mexico, is it? Is that how bad Mexico is? That's really racist, I think. I think calling Mexico the worst is actually worse than Trump just calling them shitholes.
Wendy is a 34-year-old single mother from Honduras who cleans houses for a living. Her 2 children were born in the U.S. She fled extreme poverty and remains undocumented after living here for 15 years.
She fled extreme poverty. That isn't really something you flee, is it? It's not an existential threat. That's you living somewhere poor and deciding you're going to illegally move to somewhere that's not poor in order to take advantage of the fact that they're not poor. This is not a sustainable model for a society. No society can remain rich and just allow in anyone who wants to come in. It's not going to work. And the thing is, like, is she doing really so much better in the US? I mean, she's a single mother who works as a cleaner.
But she's defiant, despite the threat of possible deportation.
The threat of the law catching up with her. Okay.
Why are you so unafraid to the point where you're okay showing your face?
You know, porque for a long time, I scared. And one day I say, I stop, I no more. Cuando empecé a ver que, demostrando de que no tenemos que tener miedo y tenemos que hacer lo que nosotros sentimos y queremos, somos mejores, somos más fuertes. Cuando tienes miedo te dejas que te pisoteen, dejas que hagan muchas cosas por ti, no las haces por ti misma.
She isn't only talking about ICE. Wendy's partner was abusive for years and nearly killed her until she ultimately escaped with her children to a women's shelter. Now she only fears one thing: deportation.
Okay, well that's not like the worst thing that can happen, is it? I mean, it's not as bad as being beaten by your partner. So deportation, in my opinion, is way better than being savagely beaten by someone who claims to love you. I mean, maybe I'm just an old-fashioned dinosaur that way, but I do still think the rules should be followed. I'm sorry to hear the fact that she married an abusive partner, and I'm glad she's got away with it from him, but on what principle is she acting like she has a right to be in the US? I mean, the idea that, like, if I was breaking laws, I wouldn't sit there and do a documentary for a news channel about it.
Y el miedo que tengo es porque soy la única que está aquí y ellos no tienen más familia aquí.
That's because you snuck in illegally. Maybe your family need you. Maybe they'd like to see their grandchildren and nieces and nephews. I mean, maybe that you actually have a life back in Honduras that you actually irresponsibly left? I mean, don't you think that you should be making your country better?
Y el miedo que tengo es porque soy la única que está aquí y ellos no tienen más familia aquí. Y sí tengo ese temor. No tengo miedo, sino que es un temor.
I wouldn't really call it a fear, more like a concern. Exactly, because it's not like a fear. She's not in any mortal danger. If ICE catch her, she will just be sent back to live in Honduras with her family. You know, the rest of the people who actually love her and want to see her. I mean, I assume that she's kind of trapped in the US. It's not like she's got a passport, so it's not like she can get on a plane, go and visit them, and then come back, is it? So, really, she's being really selfish and irresponsible, isn't she?
Temor como de que si llegara a pasar, ¿qué va a pasar con ellos?
If a raid would happen, what would become of them? They would go with you back to Honduras, because they're not US citizens either.
The recent threats of massive raids have prompted Wendy and others like her to literally prepare for their nightmare scenario.
Well, it wasn't so much a fear, was it? I wouldn't call it a nightmare scenario. I mean, maybe her abusive husband is her nightmare scenario. I'd be more afraid of him coming back, frankly. But yeah, they have bags packed just in case the law catches up with them and they are actually subject to the jurisdiction of the country in which they are illegally in. My God. I mean, if I was an illegal immigrant to France or something, or to any other country, I would act in the same way. I would be like, well, Christ, you know, I better keep a bag packed just in case, because I knew I was breaking their laws when I came here, because I chose not to come here legally. I came here with the intention of ripping them off, is what you're saying. And yeah, no wonder they have to worry about the ICE turning up and keep a bag packed. You're acting like this person isn't the victim of her own decisions.
This bag?
So that duffel bag is
Yeah,
like
duffel bag
like an
and-
emergency bag,
Yeah,
just in case
emergency
you have to
bag.
go.
Yeah, for saying me go, I only got it. And
Oh God, it's so bourgeois, isn't it? It's like, oh my God, just in case you have to go. Yeah. Sometimes people have to do things they don't want to do, princess. Sometimes that's the case. Sometimes people have to follow laws, and if they don't follow laws and they get caught, they get punished. And in her case, the punishment will be being sent back to her home country. It's not a death sentence, it's a mild inconvenience because she was trying to take advantage of something that she had no right to do. Why is this hard to understand?
that's it.
What do you have in there? You don't have to show me, but you could tell me.
I have a clothes for my kid, two chains for my son, two for my daughter, and two for me.
Wow.
This is the card, for the migrant come to my house. I take this card. I have in Spanish and English. It's for the...
In case ICE comes to your door.
Yeah. Dice, no abra la puerta si un agente del servicio de migración.
Well, of course she's going to be advised not to open the door to an immigration agent. Okay.
Está tocando a la puerta. No conteste ninguna pregunta de la gente del
Continue to refuse to cooperate with the law enforcement of the country in which you're breaking laws. Carry on.
servicio de migración. Si él trata de hablar con usted, usted tiene derecho a mantenerse callado. No tiene que dar su nombre.
And then how else?
You know what's interesting as well? It is her right to remain silent, and it is also their duty to send her home, so they should.
Are you preparing? What else do you have?
Because I have my papers, my son document,
Yeah.
the certificate for this is for my son, and my daughter's papers and my passport. This only I have. This is more important. I have with me every day. I have the process with the U visa, and I have with me for see something happen.
So you have everything prepared
Yeah.
at all times with you.
Yeah, I have this for.
Oh, it kind of makes sense, doesn't it? Because she might be caught as an illegal immigrant and lawbreaker and sent home. I mean, I hate this kind of attempt to frame these people as the victims of their own decisions. It's like, no, I'm sorry. This person knew what she was doing when she illegally entered your country. And then when law enforcement actually find that they are supposed to do their jobs, yes, she should prepare for that eventuality. There's nothing unjust about any of this.
There with me every day.
Are your kids scared, or at least your son, who's older?
Yeah.
Yeah, scared about what? Oh, I'm scared that I might have to go to Honduras. Why? Because my mum moved illegally to a country that she shouldn't have been in, and then decided to have us here. Well, that sucks. I'm really sorry to hear that, kid. I'm sorry that your mother has been so goddamn irresponsible. I'm absolutely sorry. There's nothing anyone can do about it, though. It's not our fault that your mother is irresponsible. It's not our fault that your mother has done this to you. It's her fault. But, of course, you're not going to think, well, to be fair, you know.
Yeah, my son is scared. He cried when he look in the phone and and hear the other people que talk to que my mom no is here, que my mom is deported.
God, this music.
He cried. I say, only I depend on you, mom. What's going on with me and my sisters if you're not here?
Tell you what's going on with you and your sister. Your mum has made a mistake. Your mum decided she thought she could get something she wasn't entitled to, and it looks like the long arm of the law will eventually catch up with her, and eventually she'll be sent back to the place where she should actually be, where she can, I'm sure, apply for citizenship legally. I mean, you've been there for 15 years. Is there no way that you can get citizenship if you're in the US? I'm pretty sure there are going to be programs for that kind of thing, but after 15 years you didn't bother. It's amazing to me.
But I wake up every day and I ask him, God, please, I put in your hands, take care of me and my family. And every day when I go outside and I say, I don't scare that you is with me. You take care of me and my family. And for right now, it's work.
Hey everyone, it's Dina. Make sure you check out more of my videos in the direct from...
No thanks, Dina. I honestly don't see why this video is necessary. Oh, look, here's a person who has to go back. Yeah. Here's a person who has to go back.